To me, fires are an integral part of forest school and bushcraft, giving us warmth, opportunities to cook, boil water, and just create a great atmosphere for encouraging community and conversation. If you're lucky enough to have a permanent fire pit at your site, then they are fantastic. These ones, if you have a fire pit on the ground like this, chances are you're not going to need to pack it in and out. You're not going to need to worry too much about making sure the ashes are discarded every week. You are also unlikely to break this. You may well burn the edges, but they are easy to replace. However, if you're like me and run most of your sessions on public land where you have to pack in and pack out all of the equipment, including the fire pits, or you're in an area where you aren't allowed to have fires on the ground, then a portable fire pit is a really good option. So today we're going to have a look at some of the portable fire pits on the market, talk about the pros and cons, and why you might want to choose one or the other, and hopefully it'll give you a good understanding of where to go when you're buying a solid fire pit that will last and do well for your sessions. First fire pit we're going to take a look at is this folding fire pit. This is the one you'll see most commonly in forest school settings because they are cheap, compact, easy to transport, and they do the job of a fire pit. So I've had this one for a number of years before I retired it in favor of some of my other fire pits. And that's because these do have a major flaw in the design, which is the legs fold, which is a great selling point, but anytime you have folding, moving parts, you have a place where there is a point of failure. You're creating many different points of failure. So with these ones, because the brackets that hold the legs in place are made out of quite thin metal and that there are a number of screws involved, after a couple of months to a year of hard use, the legs start looking like this. They start bending, they start breaking, you start losing the pieces. So it's good to start out with, but it will quickly lose value as a functioning tool. The other thing to think about is size. This is quite a narrow fire pit, so it's great if you're doing a one-pan meal, or if you say have 4 or 5 children maximum looking to toast some marshmallows. You're not going to get a lot of people around this. You're not going to be able to get a lot of heat out of it. So good starter fire pit, great for being portable, but there are, in my opinion, better options. If you are still on a budget but looking for something a little bit more robust than our folding fire pit here, you can typically find these barbecues on eBay or Gumtree for around about £10-15, and in stores such as Argos for not much less. They typically have longer legs and a set of wheels when they are essentially still in one piece, and a lid as well. But you take the lid off, saw down the legs, and you have a pretty functional fire pit. It's quite sturdy, it's well screwed on, there aren't very many moving parts, and it gives you a nice long area for cooking on. So you could, with a good pot crane or bar to hang lots of pots on, you can get 2 to 3 pots or Dutch ovens hanging above this. Because it's longer, you have more area to stock up with fuel, and you can push out a lot more heat. So this is cheap and cheerful, but you are again limited by size. You can fit more in than with a small folding pit, but you're going to want that long bar style cooking crane to be able to get the most out of one of these. Our next couple of fire pits all have something in common, in that the legs are screwed on. So it's not as convenient as the flip out legs on the folding fire pit, but as I said, fewer moving parts. It does make them sturdier. Removing the legs is really quite nice to be able to do. Ideally we would just leave the legs on, but it makes them inconvenient to transport because they take up a lot more space. So if you can leave the legs on your fire pit, it's in general better for the longevity of the fire pit, because even though I said there are fewer moving parts, if you damage the screw threads with how the legs screw on, you're going to possibly have to replace the whole fire pit. So do be careful with what gets into there. But other than that, these are just solid options. They take a little bit more time to screw together, but once they're together, they can be incredibly sturdy. I wouldn't trust a 20-litre Dutch oven on the little folding fire pit over here, but I have quite happily done it with all of these. So at the top here we have I believe it's the Vega that Go Outdoors sell. There's bound to be others on the market, similar size. This is my everyday fire pit. This is the one that I take to most sessions where there's not a fire pit already in place, because I can get it screwed, taken apart, put together, put into a bag, and I can carry it in and out. It's simple because it's very lightweight. And it gives me enough space to be able to cook a few little things, boil some water, and keep a moderately sized group warm. So really handy and a good option. So kind of at the other end of the price spectrum, we have this is the Petromax Fireball, or it's one of those, I believe the term is a Marika, or the Finnish style fireball. So this is one that I use as a griddle more often than as a fireball, but you can use multiples of these and have a fire on here. Now this does pack down quite small because it is so thin, but that leads us to one of the main problems with this, is that for me it doesn't have an edge, a nice edge to it. So embers and ashes can fall out of the sides quite easily. And if you're trying to look after the site, or if you're using your fire pit in summer, you don't want embers falling everywhere. So this makes it more of a niche use. So nice and handy, expensive, but works fantastic as a griddle. So not my recommended fireball. And then we have our last fire pit. So this is the one that I bring to events where I'm going to be doing a whole lot of cooking. You can get a grill that fits over the top of this, and you can cook a ton of food. So I've had 3 to 4 like big 6-litre pots sitting on here, cooking soup for almost 100 people, and all over one fire pit. You can get a lot of people around the outside. It also means that when you do have people stacked around the outside, they're not as crowded, and you can build a big fire and a good amount of embers in here. I also use this whenever I'm using a reflector oven. I can fit a reflector oven in here and still have space for a fire and not need to build it on the ground. These are a little bit harder to find and a little bit expensive. This one I got from Wilko's, which isn't as much of an option. Hopefully the range will stock them now. But this sort of size of fire pit is really nice to have in your arsenal if you are looking to do a lot more cooking or are catering for bigger groups. So there we go. Those are the main fire pits I've come across. There are smaller ones. I haven't mentioned the solo stove. I've got a completely separate review on that. I'll leave a link up above for that. But these are the ones you'll probably most commonly see on the market. So if you're looking for something that is really portable and cheap as well, then it's not a bad choice to grab one of these for a stopgap measure. If you're looking for something cheaper but sturdier, that will still be quite bulky. If you're okay with it being bulky, then go for a chop down barbecue. If you're looking for just a regular solid fire pit that will last a good long time, I recommend this Vega fire pit. If you're looking for a griddle, get the Petromax Fireball, or if you're really looking to just burn money, then get it as a fire pit. If you're looking to cater for more people and looking to build bigger fires, then these fire pits, larger fire pits, are great as well. I'll try and find links for as many of these as I can and provide them in the description below. I don't think they will be Amazon affiliate links or anything, so I won't get anything for sharing them. Just so you can choose whether to buy them through the links or not. It won't make a difference to me, but hopefully you'll get an idea of what's on the market now. If you get one like this that doesn't have a cover, then a great tip is to have a look online and find a bicycle wheel bag. They tend to be made out of quite sturdy waterproof material, and they're reasonably cheap but will last quite well and fit a good sized fire pit. So there you go. I hope that's been helpful. If you know of any other fire pits that you think would be good contenders to be used for forest school and for bushcraft, then do let me know and I'll do a review on those as well. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Remember to make the most of every day. I'll see you all next time.